An unsolicited story told by Hall of Famer George Brett. And again, as I mentioned, George Brett is one of one. Brett is one of a kind. One of the greatest pure hitters in the history of the game. One of the all-time characters and personalities of that game. George Brett is larger than life and just an amazing player, an amazing personality. I kind of miss him. He back in the day would come on the program, did great interviews, loved the show, loved coming on, came to a tour stop. And then, I've seen this time and time again. There's some guys that come on and then always come on, then some guys who come on, then don't come on, then reappear. I'm not really sure what happened to George. We've gone out a number of times over the years. It's life. It happens. I just want to say I've got great recollections of him not only as a player, but also as a jungle contributor. That said, he was down on the field, hanging with the team, the Royals, during an inter-squad game last week. Do be forewarned for now a third time. The story is extremely graphic in nature, and I'm not underselling that when I say that. But it is George freaking Brett. One of the best to ever pick up a bat, picking up a hot mic, and chopping it up with a few guys before a game. Normally, radio rules would suggest you don't run 2 minutes of straight audio. That's a lot of audio. But you can do that if it warrants it. And I could make the argument that this warrants it. Remember, this is Hall of Famer George Brett. Never in a million years would I roll this tape if it did not come straight from the horse's gap. Here you go. Hope you've had your lunch. And now I'm going to warn you a fourth time. Brace yourself for this.
I shit my pants last night. I did. Went out and had a great meal, just a great fucking meal. I had to go to the bathroom so bad in the car. I'm going, Trow, hurry up, man. I got to shit. I had fucking shit in my pants. I'm good twice a year for that. When was the last time you shit your pants?
Me?
Yeah. Been a while?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I was in Vegas a couple of years ago. Just an honest-to-God true story. Staying at the Bellagio. I went over to the Mirage for dinner, met some friends of mine over there. Went to Kokomo's, a great little steakhouse. The guy brings out some fresh crab legs. These just came in, I got to give them to you guys. I'm eating them. Then we go play gamble a little bit. I had a tea time early in the morning. So I said, look, I got to get going. I'm walking back to the hotel. I get 3/4 of the way out of the lobby, and all of a sudden I go, oh, fuck. And I'm standing here like this. I got my butt pinched so fucking, I'm fucked. I can't move. All of a sudden, felt all right. I went just like this. Water. I had some food poisoning from the crabs. Take off my leather jacket, tied it around my waist, and I'm just standing there, and it's just running down my leg. I got jeans on, black bucks, no socks, and I just start fucking walking. Every time I'm walking, something's coming out. It's water. Straight fucking water. Then, to show you how sick I was, and then I'm standing outside, I get on my cell phone, and I call the guy. Larry, you won't believe this. I'm standing outside the fucking Bellagio. I can't move. I got shit everywhere. I shit all over myself. And Larry's about a 48 waist. So he brings me over a pair of pants and some towels. And so he comes over and he meets me where I tell him where I'm standing. He finds the closest bathroom. When you go up the escalator, you go into the I can't get in the elevator. It's 12 o'clock at night. So he goes in, he finds the closest bathroom in the lobby of the hotel. And then I get in the escalator. And he kind of pretends like he dropped something so no one gets behind me. Tells me where it is. I go in there. He goes and gets the towel all wet for me, throws it over the fucking stall. I take off all my fucking clothes, just wipe off, leave my shoes, left my shoes, my pants, everything right there, the towels right there in the stall. And I'm walking barefoot with my shirt and his pants that are 48 waist through the lobby like this at midnight. Got up in the morning, took the most perfect double tapered shit I've ever had in my life. True story. Who's the pitchers in this game?
Wow. All right, now here's the weird thing about that story. I'm thinking to myself that I've heard a story like that once before. And I'm trying to figure out where I heard that story once before. And the really weird thing about that story, and like the deja vu, right? You ever have that feeling of deja vu where something happened and you've been there before, you've lived it before, you can't quite get your head around it? It's like deja vu. I feel like that with that story. Because on top of that, I feel like I heard a similar story. And weirdly enough, the thing that's kind of dinging my radar right now, it feels like I heard it when I was in Kansas City, or that it was about Kansas City. And then when I hear that audio right now, although it was kind of floating around this week, I feel like it's not a new story. I feel like that's a classic, like one of George's greatest hits, that didn't just come out. But the moral of the story is, there's a lot of morals to that story. For instance, if you want my take, I have no take. I have no thoughts. You can do whatever the hell you want with that. The ultimate moral of the story, if it were anybody other than George Brett, is this. If you see a microphone, consider it hot. In fact, it's not even a microphone anymore. If you see a cell phone, consider it hot. No. If you leave your house in the morning, consider yourself hot. And especially if you're anybody of any importance. Because if you say something like that, if you take 2 minutes to tell an entire story about how you crap yourself, and you're somebody with 3,000 hits, one of the greatest ever, it's going to find its way to where it's just found. It's going to find its way online, and then it's going to find its way to me, and then I'm going to push it out to about 9 billion people. But as I mentioned, if for anybody other than George Brett, George doesn't give a damn. I mean, I don't think George told that story thinking, oh, this is going to be cool. Oh, I got something for you. Here, listen to this story. He probably didn't know the mic was hot, but I don't think George cares. It's George Brett, man. What would he possibly care about? He's George freaking Brett. George freaking Brett if you need him. Although I'm not sure any of us needed that. But then again, at least you know. Now you know. Now you've got a playbook. Now you have a playbook that you could run if you have the runs. See what I did there? You make sure you find one of your buddies who's kind of fat, who's got a size 48 pair of jeans, and you make sure that if you've got a leather jacket, you tie it around your waist. I mean, he just ran the whole playbook on what to do in the event that you poop yourself. I mean, that's thinking on your feet. Anyway, there it is. You wanted a jungle preview of the 2020 MLB season. There you go. You got it, courtesy of George Brett. Even if that audio was 10 years old or 7 years old or whenever it came from. So George came on the show back in the day. What year was this, Alvy? 2006. Tell me that was not his last appearance. All right, so George came on. That was not his last appearance. But he came on in 2006 and was talking about how he was driving a Jeep or a golf cart, I should say. I'm thinking about a Jeep because when I grew up in the 818, I used to go to this driving range. We'd always try and hit the knob in the Jeep. Who was picking up all the golf balls? We were talking about that. He was driving a cart. Worst job ever, or the reason that you made a run at 400 and ended up in the Hall of Fame?
Only job ever.
Great.
My only job I ever had, Jim, to be honest with you. And it was a par 3 course. The guy that owned it gave me a regular golf cart, no cage at all. And I would drive around with those little wheels on the back with the little baskets, you know. Sure. And I'd pick up these range balls. And every time you'd be out there, everybody would start aiming at your ass, you know.
Of course.
And so being a high school football player, I went to the school and I got a football helmet. And I drove around in a football helmet, no shoulder pads, no cage or nothing. And it was just brutal.
You see why I miss this guy, George Brett. Of course. I mean, have you ever been to a driving range and seen that kid who's making a few bucks an hour picking up those balls? You don't try and dot that guy. You don't try and bounce a laser shot off whatever he's driving. They sent George Brett out there in a golf cart in no cage. Goalies without masks think that's stupid. I love the way he put on a football helmet. Stephen Crowtown tweets, this George Brett story is like a Rex in the ABQ bat signal. That is definitely a concern. Hard Rocks 24 tweets, you just put out the freaking bat signal for Rex in the ABQ. Ditto, I know I just said that. Danny Mahaffey 3 tweets, I smell a call from Rex coming. That makes 3. JP Emmett tweets, number 5, with the best number 2 story ever. Casey in New Hampshire. Louis Slungpoo. Cannot believe that story.
Louis Slungpoo, I hope I pronounced the last name correctly.
Yes, ma'am, it's Slungpoo.
Oh, thank you very much. What can you tell us about this? Or is it something you've ever seen before like this?
We had a pressure break around sunset, and the cherry bomb must have popped through the top of the pipe and just blew the bottom right out of it.
Well, is this something that happens because of the UCLA campus and kids playing around, or is it the high school campus, or do you know the source?
Right now, we're still in the investigation phase. It just seems that the break might have come somewhere around the Poly Pavilion area, one of the locker rooms. It was either a cherry bomb or someone took a really large dump.
That is an incredible. So, are you 100% sure about that?
That's a fake call.
Oh, we lost him. I'm sorry about that. We hope to get him back and find out how they're going to close down.
Whoever that was, she could not have handled that any worse. Not only was she not listening, and if she was listening, what can you say about somebody who didn't respond to somebody saying, yeah, it was either a cherry bomb or somebody took a really large dump? And then she doesn't understand how they lost him, namely they cut him off. She actually said, maybe we can get him back. Yeah, I wish you had. Hey, Louis, you shouldn't have. Rome Slice. That Jesse's Girl rendition was still better than anything Huey Lewis and the News put out. Regards, Jim Rome. That's cool. Now I'm emailing myself. Wouldn't I just say that rather than send that to myself in the form of an email? Geoff?